one? Wait for the two. Let's do one. It's fine. Accessibility settings can be accessed from the main menu. Okay. Interesting. Interesting over there. The end is never, the end is never, the end is loading. Got gamer snacks, guys.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company and employee number 427.
Got the feeling of Cat in the Hat in the movie.
On the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk.
Okay.
This is what employee 427 did every day. It's soul-rending. Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in.
Sure he did.
As though he had been... And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Who's that? Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What if I want to enter the door on the right?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Can I get some
It
drinks?
had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Yeah.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Okay.
But eager to get back.
What should I? This is interesting.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Oh, I feel bad now. Is this game gonna be like... Oh, okay. Not jump from the cargo lift while it was in motion. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. How am I gonna not die?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Alrighty
This is
then.
it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who's she?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
I can't pick the phone up. I want to leave. Oh, okay, that's crouch. That's... I can't pick up the phone. Oh. Okay. What's going on? Right off the bat, this game is confusing. 427.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Really,
I'm trying to make
bro?
a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Morning.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Jesus.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
What if I don't want to? I want to press X. What if I want to press circle? Triangle.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Okay.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he
no.
imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
The rapture, guy. Spend time with the boys. Yeah,
So
let's go.
He went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Okay.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Who is this guy? To question nothing. Bro.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to.
Is he on my side or not?
Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And
Please
Stanley
die.
pushed a button.
What?
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Okay then. This is interesting. Huh. I'm gonna honestly eat this chocolate bar.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Oh Lord.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
We're gonna do that now. Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay. Is that finished? Make sure the slide has a slick blue graphic in the header, throw something bubble on the text, and this will ensure a common productive work environment. Okay. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Oh. Wonder why. Okay. Is that it? Charts, slides, charts, and slides. Yo, it's memes. Come on, next one, next one. Let's go. Loompa loompa. Market report. Rate which side of the charts are the same duplicate of the same information. I didn't come here for a test. Bye. What? Yeah, let's not. Broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I'm gonna go upstairs, actually. That's what I want to do. I'm gonna go up the stairs and, okay. Executive bathroom. Okay. Boss's office is huge.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
Oh no.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Which button does what?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
I don't have a keyboard.
2845.
No keyboard here. Oh, never mind.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
That's hilarious. Oh, this is scary. Is that an arm? Oh no, it's just a bag. Okay. Oh, we're going to hell? Awesome. To the boiler room.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the
Mind
large
control.
door that read Mind Control Facility.
Huh. I don't know if I want to be mind controlled today, but I am curious. I don't even know if I'm not going to go back if I don't do this. We're going in. Oh, like The Incredibles. Idea.
What horrible secret
one
did
job.
this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ooh, what? Over here. Surveillance camera.
Now the monitors jumped
Whoa.
to life. Their true nature
All the
revealed.
employees.
Each bore the number
Oh.
of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Is it 427? Yeah, that's me. Not there. What's this?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own
stupid.
life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. Not doing anything. Mind control idle, awaiting input. There's errors.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Why would I turn it on? I could turn it off. It's already off. I was mind controlled still, wasn't I?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Yeah.
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path.
Is this the end of the game? It can't
This
be.
was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Where was he? I did not beat the game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Do I like... Is this like a choices book or a choices game? Where you keep redoing it until you actually get it right?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
How many choices did I have when I opened the door on the right or the left? I wonder what will he say something? Let's just wait. What if I want to jump on the filing cabinet? Is that okay? What if I enter the door on my left?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Did I, though? So many choices.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment.
No,
for
like
no reason at
superliminal.
all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
Yeah.
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not
He's lucid
woken up.
dreaming.
How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
But you
And
can't
while
be
he thought it
thinking
all
that...
very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream.
How could
How
it be?
could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to
trick the
take
door.
responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back,
All lies.
the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
I'm still walking.
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
What?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
What is going on?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay. Am I gonna play as her now, or we got Maria and Stanley?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, he didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh, no, I don't.
Wow. Yes, this room. What but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Did I take this door last? Yeah, I did. The door in my left.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
What if I don't want to? What if I want to just press this button, go up, or down? Oh, this is interesting.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office.
No,
he
I don't.
wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
Why?
So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Can I open up this door? Thing is, I think he's still sitting at his desk because you can keep on pressing X and it will tap a key.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake. No,
Why?
no, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
What?
Now, let's see. We went down right, left,
Down, left, right, yes.
Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Knock, knock. Oh.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
don't do that.
And this time,
you just
suppose
open
we
the door.
don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
What the heck?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Well,
Then Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be...
Game?
Oh, did something change?
You didn't. You said you were
Stanley,
reading a book.
Did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago.
I don't...
I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
I'm sorry, what? What if I go through here? Can't go through there. Okay, do I have anybody in chat? What if... what if we go through that way? Just that way, which is just the same thing. I want to go here. This intrigues me. Everyone knows what you did. They're just holding
I'll
back
say it.
the lich.
This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we just... Do we need to restart the game
No,
again?
no, we don't. No.
I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Come on. Makes no sense. Okay. Is that actually the right time? That's not the right time at all, no. Why did it need to know
All
the
of
time?
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
When he got to a room with no doors.
It's worse.
Wow.
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. Let's figure this out, dude. Is any open doors? That door, that's open, but I can't get through there.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something.
What?
The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Oh my god.
Now this...
What?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
Is
this
some
the
kills
story?
paint?
I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
Definitely office
Do you know
building.
what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
Can I hide?
Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Oh lord, the door's gonna be locked, isn't it? To my office, just gonna be locked. The Stanley
All right,
Parable Adventure
I've got a
line.
solution.
Okay.
This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
That's not where we're supposed to
You
be
see,
going.
the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right?
Sure.
Okay. Now,
I just
if
follow
my
on.
experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this
Follow the
office,
line completely,
is
bro.
this
I
office
can't
in
jump.
fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now
Yes,
is a bit
music.
of music to
Yes.
lighten the mood.
Yeah. Like Willy Wonka.
Great. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully.
Oh, it
you
looks
won't
like a
want to miss
fern.
anything.
Yeah. Okay. not the right time.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through...
It's sentient, bro.
Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh, Lord. What is up with this game? The Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Let's follow.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right?
Yeah,
Why
sure.
can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Direction? Where? Where'd you put the door? Where'd you put the door, man? Where'd you... Ah, this direction. Okay.
Now, yes, this is exciting.
Yeah,
Just me and
land.
Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley,
Fly
I'm ready for
unicorn
it.
on a dragon. I don't know. Let's go.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our
touch it.
awesome new story.
Touch it.
No lines or monitor rooms.
Touch it.
Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Yeah, well, it's kind of impossible. So... okay.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So
okay.
starting from the right, let us
Philosopher.
ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going?
Wasn't the
And
left
since
door,
the
though?
answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is?
End up
It's all one giant ending? And we're
Confusing
supposed to
ending
restart the
too.
game, what, eight
It's restart.
times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Again.
Well, what if
Stanley
I don't want to
attempts play the
forget?
story, but is prevented.
My
unable
mind
to
goes
go
blank
anywhere.
simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well,
Restarts on
who
its own.
consulted me? Why don't I get to decide?
Restart.
Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Find the line again, begin
No,
following
it can't be. I
the
don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going
Get
on.
bored and
I don't
leave.
want to be trapped like
Narrator
this.
restarts
I
the game.
won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't. Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
I'm gonna sit down.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Really. Who restarted the game? I'm sorry. Is it God? Is he gonna say it again? He doesn't have a
The
choice.
meeting room. Yes, that's where
No,
everyone
he
would
does.
be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Sure.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's go.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay. Is it gonna the same thing happen again? Oh no, I had to load now. Oh, this is confusing. What's going on? So we know that he might have died, and we know that there's the other lady, and then we know that there was a loop, and he doesn't know who's, like...
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
But I wouldn't. That pole was in that thing. Uh-huh.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yeah. Bring it. Okay. Woo. Okay.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Can I just jump? What?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into
What?
the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Am I free from the narrators?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What's this one? What does this do over here? Filing cabinets? Yeah, props. Corridor. Pacing of this opening section was important. To get right, the corridor must be moved and altered to make sure the player reaches 2 doors in a good time. The office layout. Blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game, path of Stanley's office to the 2 doors in the first part of the game that was built. The sections have been added and altered through development throughout. The core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. And different doors. And button sounds. A section of button sounds is used to the game when press each sound at a keyboard stroke synthesized tone. Office computers. Installing the program. Playing that. Playing charades. Employee database. Yeah. 2013 team. Yeah. And Kevin Bright as the narrator. The maintenance room, a earlier version of the maintenance room. Same thing. If we end up on a battlefield fighting aliens, the action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. He realized shortly after that starting to build it was far too jokey on the nose for this tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which is not our intention. Lounge, an early version of the lounge. The office. What? What do you do? Pick up the phone? Can I pick up the phone? Oh, okay. Cargo lift was always intended to be the offer choice. Cargo lift. We're just gonna continue on with the game. This is so interesting. I'm in heaven, I guess. I don't know.
Stanley stood on the roof. Let's see. Stanley walked through the green door. And number 6.
What is going on? Where am I supposed to go? Part of this ending, the player would pull, and will describe what color they had pulled. Huh. Okay, can I just get to where I'm supposed to go?
Oh, look
What?
at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Who are you?
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now, and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do,
What if I don't
choose
want to
it.
turn off my
Time choose for you.
PlayStation?
Don't let
Oh my gosh, dude. Stanley, is it gonna be
How
her?
long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Bye.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
No, no, no. What the heck, man?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in
What the
2013
heck?
on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Okay.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Sure. You gonna go?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's
It's gonna be
do
that
it.
room. Just a bunch of bricks? Ah, sweet.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
I can jump. Can't jump out here, but I can jump. Jump. Oh. Very nice. I want to jump right out there. Jump, 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 jump. Up and down, 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 up and down. What happens when it goes to 0? Come on, let me know. Let me know. Well, let me. Not fun.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
But I
It's
can
just
jump.
elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Jumping.
If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes.
Very good.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it.
I'll be
I'm
going.
ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content. I want to punch.
That's it?
Can you give me fists
You've
now?
got to be kidding
Have
me.
new
You see,
content,
Stanley?
fists?
This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
Yes.
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
I guess let's go. What is this game? Never out of day. The heck?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
You've been better than everybody else, so I'll go with you. Screw. Not. Okay. Whoa. Did you trick me? What is his name, though? What's the narrator's name? Just narrator? It's the narrator, dude. Let's go.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it
Yeah.
got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find
What
it.
in the Holy Grail?
Just our little secret. Take a look.
Gothic church, what? Ooh!
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation
Academy
port?
films.
Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched?
Sure.
Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Should I play the original Stanley Parable game? Because, smile because it happened. The Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable, Stanley Parable, Stanley Parable. Go outside, don't play for 5 years. Is that literally an achievement? I could easily get that. It's impossible to get this achievement, unachievable. That's hilarious. British Academy Games. Oh, I died. Oh, that's your favorite memory of me? Thank you. What is
And over
this?
here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing.
I love
It's
these
no
pop
games at
culture
all.
references.
It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Big sushi, never.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Huh. Where do I go now? Narrator's broken, I guess, bro. Graceful his memory. Like work, I just hate my boss. Is in her head. Carolyn likes to venture off on the beaten path in life as well as game, but unfortunately the narrator in her head isn't nearly as witty as the one in the Stanley Parable. Can I just get out of here?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
All the reviews.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
You keep telling yourself that.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Whoa.
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Yeah, those people just sound like they have no brain cells.
Okay, let's see what this one says.
Yeah,
While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh, dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
Oh no.
Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I... What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening.
Ha.
I wish there was a skip button. A skip button?
It's a story game.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and then... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Huh.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again.
Got it.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. But they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way...
How old can you get?
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I... Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret.
Was he mad at me? I'm kind of mad at myself for pressing the button.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the... The end is never the end, 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 is never...
A little bit scary. Oh. Can we just get done with it, bro? A whole new, Why? Oh, that's beautiful. I like it. Bro, what? Atomic Winter? That's going by years, and it'll probably like decades, centuries. Okay. Ah, a tornado. Oh. Oh, nice. An endless desert. What in the world? Is that water? Farther away. Okay. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Back again. I'm taking right.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
New content. My God.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Oh my God, bro. This game is so confusing. I don't know where he is, or like I think that he's actually just on the computer. Playing the Stanley Parable on his computer.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable. and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Huh.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel.
Really cool.
An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Oh, why can't I jump? I don't want to do this whole thing. This is so cool.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button that says the name of the player that's playing the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people.
If it has my name.
With that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button, which speaks the name of the person playing the game.
Okay.
Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim.
Okay.
But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Method acting.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim.
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on? Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They would appreciate what I've created here.
Screenshot. The updated ray traced more of the same, but in a good way sequel to the button that says the name of the player. Jump circle, infinite hole. Okay. The new easy plus easy jump. Get it here. Pull the lever, receive your new tool. No more steps. It just works. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers...
Open. Come on, man. This game is so simplistic.
What else?
So there's
What
two
other
buttons.
exhibits haven't we seen yet? You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
Why not?
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
The infinite hole won't end. We go over here. Setting World Champion, infinite hole, free trophy, merch. Bro, I want some merch.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
End of the game. Reassurance bucket. Open the door, bro. Why don't you let me go in there, bro? Now easy trophy. So the infinite hole. Oh, screenshots, bro.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
It will someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
I know.
Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
He renamed it the button. This is Jim. Where's the infinite hole? Collectibles. Yo, can I get a collectible? You can't find them, you can't find them, you can't find them. Can you find them?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Yo. It's actually kind of cool.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
The reward of collecting all of them is the reward. Distant space-time, fast falling. Full like infinity. time deeper. I don't really understand that. Surrounding. Infinite hole chart, hole, space, more hole, infinity, science, question mark, more, falling, educational use only, hole entrance, infinity. Is the hole?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
What if I don't press the button?
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
We can make it if we
What
try.
normal
Just
person
the two
actually
of us.
wants to fall
You and
infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Just gotta take a screenshot, that's all.
Great. Now,
Okay.
I'm very excited to show... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no.
Fall
You
damage,
have
not
a
like
weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Most likely will.
Oh, there it is. The shame of my... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Because I literally can't get up.
Is the,
Yeah.
teleport button not working?
Yeah, it's
You
not.
sure?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this.
Just
I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley.
What?
You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be
So
with the
close yet so
hole,
far.
I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
I'm just gonna sing Just the Two of Us by Will Withers. What's going on? Yo, is the sky breaking? What the heck? Oh. Cool. It's getting darker. Hey. Yeah. Looking like a shit. Yeah. Yo. Hey, puppies. Yo.
My head's stronger. Now you're no.
Whoa, whoa. Sorry, what is that? Upside down. No, that's the side right there.
Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland.
Yeah.
I can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole. And I'm
Yeah,
looking
until they
forward to
grow
all of
legs.
them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
That was interesting. Dum dum diddle dum. Dum dum diddle dum. What was that? Okay.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Can I leave? What if I jump in the hole again? Wouldn't that be hilarious? Oh, you locked the doors. Did you fix it yet? Okay, what's going on? Ominous spy music is what it sounds like. The exit. Okay.
Oh, goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
Okay.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
Oh yes, the
Come
bucket.
on, give it a try.
That's...
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already
holding
be
something.
sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Do I have to put it down, or can I take it with me? I get to take the bucket.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Yes, bucket. It's so entertaining. That's cool.
So, Stanley, what do you think?
God,
Do you
that was-
like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Cool.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay. Yo. Can I change the settings? Yo. Field of view, camera sensitivity. Yeah, camera sensitivity go up just a bit. A field of view, 72. Okay. Credits. Oh, they have Discord. Begin the game. Okay. This is such an interesting game. Really creative. How is nobody watching this yet? It is 4th of July.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ha!
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find out. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Bucket, what are you gonna do?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable.
Yes.
At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
The moment the bucket and the bucket is with me.
You found one of them. one of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
That's great. Let's put them in the bucket. Let's go. Oh. Man.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Okay.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Yeah, just to have him bucket, okay.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
Is it though?
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Okay. The end is loading. Never the end is.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
That was. Bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, there's your bucket.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Oh, okay. Oh, Lord. Where are we going now? Is this
Now
a
then,
bucket?
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket.
Yeah.
Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No, this is bucket.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
This gotta be lying every time.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Definitely, bro.
The earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Correct. This
What?
is a bucket.
That's not a. That's not. Is it named bucket? Like,
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
hold on, let me get real close here. Let me think. I got this bucket right here. That bucket. That's not a bucket.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Yes.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything
Everything is a
disappear?
bucket.
Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
First viewer, let's go after 2 hours. This is, everything is a bucket. No, the Stanley Parable, it's, very interesting. It's... I can't explain it. The game that plays you. I want the bucket.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms.
Yes.
With the bucket, Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
But, except, we're not going to do that, narrator.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
No, it's
but
not.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Okay.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Done this one a bunch, but I haven't really explored far past that. When I did, it just put me in a loop, so I think I'll go over here.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Yeah. It's over here. Closed door. Okay. Mission status. There will be a reward for finding all of them. Yeah, there will. Wait, there won't. Stop kidding yourselves. I want them so much. I want to go home. There will be cleaning up of the wall. Who are you? What the heck? This room closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd.
Yep.
Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
I'm telling you, this game.
One named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What? Oh, okay. I'm gonna end the stream now. Begin the game again? Yeah, no. Oh, we're still in the sequel thing. Oh.